DLC has made 3 simple letters into a 4-letter word to many gamers. Downloadable content started as an idea to add additional content to a game after it was released to keep the game fresh. That idea of DLC has been around for some time, most notably taking off with the original Xbox back when Xbox Live was implemented, but has become a whole different beast in this current generation of gaming. What started off as a few extra missions and costumes has grown to include specialized weapons, items for your avatar, and even huge episodic expansion packs like GTA 4's Ballad of Gay Tony and Red Dead Redemption's Undead Nightmare. Now this series is for you, the gamer, who is now having to decide on whether to spend your money on a game you already own or use that money on a new game altogether. Our first review in the series is probably the most important piece of DLC ever made, Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition. When I say that Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition is so important, I'm really referring to its backstory and how it came to be. In 2008, when Street Fighter 4 came out in Japanese arcades, and a few arcades here in the US, it was a huge success, revitalizing the fighting game genre. Arcade owners were riding out this success, even after the release of the console version of Street Fighter 4, but they received a big shock when Super Street Fighter 4 was announced as available only for the consoles. Arcade owners around the world were up in arms as their Street Fighter 4 machines that cost them upwards of $20,000 were now obsolete, with many having to modify their cabinets to run regular Xbox 360 or PlayStation 3 just to play Super Street Fighter 4. During the Super Battle Opera event in Japan last year, Capcom confirmed that an arcade edition of Super Street Fighter 4 would be released in December, making many arcade owners breathe a sigh of relief. However, that left Capcom with a big decision of what to do with the growing number of console fans that didn't have an arcade nearby. Their compromise was to wait 6 months to release a DLC version of Arcade Edition, letting arcade owners increase their profits for a time without competition from the home consoles. Without Arcade Edition, the state of the arcades around the world would have gone from bad to fucking terrible. Hence the reason why it's so important. The real question comes down to this. Is it worth $15 to upgrade your version of Super Street Fighter 4? Let's look at what you get for the $15. 4 new characters are added to the roster, making a total of 39 fighters. The new characters are Evil Ryu, Oni Akuma, Yun and Yang. Evil Ryu and Oni Akuma are like souped up versions of Ryu and Akuma, yet still have their own problems. Evil Ryu, while doing far more damage than his goody two-shoes self, is one weak bastard. Oni Akuma is essentially regular Akuma with some additional moves, yet doesn't really shine above his less eviler version of himself. Yun and Yang are simply overpowered, making the rest of the roster look outdated. Even Daigo the Beast Umehara has given up his tried and true Ryu, who he won many championships with, for the new and overpowered 2011 model Yun. Capcom decided that even though they made 2 characters that are clearly overpowered, that everyone else on the roster deserves some sort of balance. The worst of those nerfed in this balance was E Honda, who went from being a punishing mass of meat to now doing almost half the damage he used to, making him literally half the man he used to be. Those that received buffs included Sagat, who is now a legit contender in a tournament, but not like the god that he was back in Street Fighter 4, Guy Cody, and the lovable loser fighter that everyone plays when they really want to troll the opponent, Dan. Seriously though, do not sleep on Dan, he could actually put up a fight now. Along with the new characters and balance changes were a variety of small changes made to the game. If you have a cheap ass friend, and who doesn't, you can still play against their non-Arcade Edition asses. Buying Arcade Edition lets you select which version of Super Street Fighter 4 you want to play, thus not isolating those refusing to change. The battle points and player points have been reworked to display at all times during an online match. This will allow you to see what your opponent's points are for either Arcade Edition or Super Street Fighter 4. New costumes have been added, but that's the norm with any update from Capcom. Finally, a change to the replay channel has been made where you can follow other players and watch their latest replays. Fans of pro players may find this a joy, but most people will just use this to watch their friends lose against the worst players. So is Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition a must-buy, a buy if ... or a skip it? Well, Arcade Edition is a buy if you want to find reason to put back your copy of Super Street Fighter 4 in your console. If you already moved on to other games featuring Marvel characters or those bloody Mortal Kombat guys, then there's no need to look back. This download is only for the big Street Fighter fans, and if that's not you, then why are you even watching this video?